Hello, my name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today I want to talk about data privacy and inference. When data is collected and combined with other information, companies want to be able to gather certain insights from that data. And sometimes those insights are good and they benefit us. So, for example, let's say you were using your credit card in a place that you typically don't go. When your credit card company calls you up and says, we think your credit card may be used fraudulently because it's being used in some location that you don't typically go, that is based on their inference in terms of how you typically use your card in certain locations. So that is an example of a good inference. An example of a bad inference is when a company takes random data about you, and they correlate it and they try to make some assumption about you as an individual. So an example of this would be based on a Cambridge Analytica data issue that happened many years ago. They had a project that they were working on called the KitKat project. And with the KitKat project, what they found was if they sent ads to a particular individual and they were anti-Semitic and the person liked the image or liked the ad, they found that some of those people who liked those ads also liked KitKat bars. So that's why they call it the KitKat project. So the problem with this and the problem with inference in this situation is if someone else were looking at the data or they were trying to correlate it in some way, does that mean that if someone is an anti-Semite, they like KitKat bars? Or does liking KitKat bars make you an anti-Semite? This is a problem if this type of information is disseminated and shared in other ways, especially if the person is not sure about it or is not aware that this is happening. For example, let's say that data was extrapolated and somehow sold to maybe an agency that was doing employment, and that information could possibly be used against you based on how that information was correlated within that data set. There's also an example of something that happened recently where a gentleman was walking past a house, and this is a house he walked past all the time because this is a route that he walked from his house to his job. And this house was burglarized at a time where he was near the house. Based on that information, the person was arrested. So the information about his proximity to the house, they could not tell whether a person was in the house, on the property. All they knew is that this person was in the vicinity at that time, and he was actually arrested and had to fight his way out of the case. That's another instance in which when a inference is made into a judgment about an individual. This is a problem with data collection and also trusting blindly data that is collected. It's very important that we as humans be able to make final judgments about data and what it means about the individual, because it can have harms on individuals that may or may not be seen by the individual. I think being able to have more transparency and people being able to limit their data sharing is something that's going to be really important to make sure that all the data that's being collected and being put together isn't done so in a way to harm the individual. So again, I'm very much in favor of data minimization and also transparency to the user, especially if data can cause harm to an individual. That's it. Thank you.